Students, in this section of the video, we will talk about the different phases of the population growth in India. Following four phases are recognized in demographic history of the India. The first stage, second stage, third and fourth stage. In the first stage, the period are recognized that 1901 to 1921, stagnant growth, slow growth rate, birth rate and death rate were high, poor medical facilities, low literacy rate, insufficient distribution of food and basic facilities. Dear students, during this period, the birth rate is very high and death rate also very high. The growth rate is stagnant growth. Stagnant growth means what? The slowly the growth and changes of the populations come in the society or country. But the total overall growth rate were very slow because due to the high death rate. Why this is so? Because of the poor medical facilities. In that time, the medical facilities were not in the developed condition. So, poor medical facilities is the reason, most crude reason for the slow growth rate of the population. Low literacy rate is also, it's a very important. Low literacy rate, though also the slow growth rate region. Insufficient distribution of the food are also. Lack of the food, it's a increase the number of disease in the person. That's why insufficient distribution of the food were also the reason for the slow growth rate of the population. And basic facilities just like medical facilities, education, health facilities were not available in that time. That's why the growth rate of the population were very slow during this period. After this period, on the second stage, 1921 to 51, steady growth. Steady growth means growth are going on, but it's a slow, not the rapidly. Improvement in the health. During this period, the health facilities are improved. Okay? Improved in the health and the sanitations low mortality rate. Sanitations are also, it's a low mortality rate. Better transport facilities were developed, high birth rate and decline the death rate. Decline the death rate, high birth rate means with the help of improvement of health facilities, it's a decline the death rate of the child. That's why the growth rate is growth rate was improved and the populations are increased in the second stage. The influence of world war and economic depressions influenced. The influence of the world war during the world war period between these during the world war period it's a become the great economic depression in the world. During that period also the population suffered from the many regions suffer from the lack of food, lack of economic condition, lack of health facilities. During these periods mortality induced growth. So the second stage, that's why it's called the steady growth, not rapidly, not slow down, but steady growth rate is improved. On the third stage, the during the period it's recorded it's a 1951 to 1981 population explosion period. This period is called the population explosion period. During this period, population increased rapidly. Rapid fall in mortality rate. Due to the rapid fall in mortality rate, high fertility rate. Fertility rate was very high during this period. Mortality rate is rapidly fall down and introduce the 5 years plan. During this period, it's introduced the 5 year plans. Improvement of living condition also, it's a major reason for the explosion of the population. Increased migration. During this period, migration also increased because people were migrated from one place to another place to the searching for their jobs, searching for the better facilities, searching for the education and health facilities, etc. So fertility induced growth is the very high, become very high during this period because the rapidly fall the mortality rate and develop the better facilities of the health. Now, next stage is fourth. It's during the period of from 1981 onwards till present अब तक growth rate decline. Growth rate decline. See here, the 1951 to 1981. It's a period for the population explosion. During this period, rapidly increased the population. But after 81 onwards till now, the growth rate is decline, but not a very less. So few digits, few points, few percentage less down the declining the growth rate, but not very less. Crude birth rate decline due to the increased marriages, due to the some reasons. That's as the marriages are very important because during these periods people are become very smart and they mostly involved in the education. They have taken the great education, they have taken the lots of educations and mostly populated are educate become the educated and they think about their lives, their careers, their families, their growth. So for that reason they got the late marriage. So marriage age are also improved quality of life and education are also it's a decline the birth rate, decline the growth rate of the population. Next topic is the features of adolescent population. Adolescent means what? It's in Hindi it's a Kisora Avastha, just like you all people who are studying in the class 10th, 9, 10th, 11, 12th and graduation level. They are the adolescents person, the adolescents people. During this period, high potential. The adolescent persons have the high potential, quite vulnerable also. High potential means what? Those who are the adolescent age, they have the lot of potential to do work, and if they are not guided the properly, they vulnerable also. And challenges faced by society about adolescent is lower age at marriage, literacy, female literacy, school dropouts, low intake of nutrients, high rate of mortality of adolescent mothers, high rate of HIV/AIDS, physical and mental disabilities, etc. The lower age of marriage. It means faces challenged by the society about the adolescent in the ancient time or the age before the 1981. It's a lower age at the marriage. Illiteracy was the great reason for the population growth. Female female illiteracy are also it's a very important challenges for the faced by the societies. School dropouts. School dropouts means students who they dropped school in between the session and completing the session. Low intake of the nutrients. They have taken the low nutrients foods. High rate of the mental mortality. These all are the challenges faced by the society about the adolescents. Next topic is the steps taken by the government to channelize the adults. The adults, yeah, or adolescents, the most important because during these periods, during the age of adolescents, persons are very high potentials and quite vulnerable also. That's why the government has taken the some steps to develop the youth skills, to develop the youth policy, to develop their growth in the direction of the career, in the direction of their um interest. So they started to the some they have they taken the some steps for the growth of the adolescent person, and steps are taken the new youth policies, holistic vision for the youth India, to empower the youth of the country to achieve their full potential, to enable India to find its rightful place of the community of the nations. Policy of skill development or adolescents, encourage the youth of constructive development of the societies, improve patriotism and responsible citizens. Youth empowerment, giving importance for youth health, sport and recreations, innovations in the field of science. These steps are taken by the government for the youth, for the adolescent age of persons, adolescents age group persons, and this these all facilities, these all steps are the helpful for the youth. Students, in this section of the video, it's a we talked about the different phases of the population growth and adolescent age group, and about the steps taken by the government for the youth. In the next video and next part of the video, we will talk about the population composition. So thank you, have a nice day.